and welcome to another episode on Srilingo. Today I have a very unique guest with a very unique profession. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of the term soil specialist. So today I have Orn. Orn is the Chief Technical Officer at Saudi Desert Control, and her specialty lies in soil management. I'm not going to say anymore because I am also with a very limited information in this regard. So let us understand what Orn does. And Orn, welcome to Srilingo. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I'm very grateful to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Smita, and very happy to be here. Yes, I'm on, and my specialist is soil management. My drive in study in agriculture or specialist in the soil is because my background is from Thailand. My father is an agricultural extension officer. He worked closely with the grower in Thailand. Thailand is the land of mine and agriculture. We are the major export. I think between top 1 to top 3 of export of rice. And at that time, let's say 40 years ago, I followed my father to the field every single day. And I met a lot of growers with a very big smile, happy, even though they're not much income, but they are very happy. I was curious why and how did people start to be just very happy without having a lot of materialized, same as this and in this generation. But with that in mind, because when I study higher in high school, we have to choose our profession, and I was in two legs between either going for a doctor or dentist or agriculture. But I thought, why not? I would like to help people in my country. That's the key. That my father has been taught me from the beginning of my childhood. And then, I make a decision. I'm very good in chemistry. I choose to study agricultural chemistry. And at that time, it's very well known about green evolution. Green evolution means you can improve and increase productivity by increasing agricultural input, for example, for chemical fertilizer, insecticide, pesticide, let's say any kind of chemical that has been invented from that. We have been taught that without that, you will not be able to have ability or increase capability to produce agricultural products and sustain food production for our generation. When I graduate my bachelor degree of agricultural chemistry, on the last year, I start to study about soil microbiology and understand, because I would like to understand more about ecology. Why is that? Because chemical use, let's say this, chemical use in any type is not born to be with nature. Am I correct? Yes.
Yes.
And that's something that is always stuck in my mind, that why we are using such a lot of chemical production, why we have to wear protective gear to be able to spray chemical in the field. And what happened with the rest of the good guy? When I say good guy, it means a lot of beneficial microorganisms, a lot of beneficial insects, a lot of living organisms in the field. When we use the chemical, we are killing everyone. And that's the reason is the tipping point of my career, that, I would like to understand more, and how can I use by support and reduce amount of chemical usage in the field of production. My PhD is related to the bioremediation. What does it mean? Bioremediation is mean that how can we reduce amount of contamination in the field? And I use a lot of technical molecular biology to understand the function of microorganisms and the soil. And now this is the open eye. I knew that when we spray chemical or any pollutant that contaminate in the soil, you're killing everyone. Good guy, bad guy, no one escaped from this point. Now, when I realized that after I graduate my PhD, I joined เกษตรศาสตร์ University as a lecturer, and I work closely with the grower in the field very close to เกษตรศาสตร์is
Mm.
university in Thailand, and
Okay.
is based we based in Bangkok, which is the capital city. But I work closely with the grower who produce organic production close by the city called Nonthaburi. And with that in mind, I work with a program called Integrated Crop Management with my colleagues. And yes, with that time, we help a lot of growers to be able to implement and incorporate the organic production system using a good guide. I mean, good guide, beneficial insect, beneficial microorganism to be able to prevent when the good guy increase the population. Let's say this easy way, you increase the population of good soldier to protect your crop. When you protect your crop with a good soldier, when the bad army came, then they be able to protect and reduce the population of the bad guy.
I have
That's how
never
we
heard
work.
anybody talk about soil like this. Good guy, bad guy. This almost seems like, a film. But let me just break what you just told me. So you specialized in chemistry, or let me go a little before that. Your father has always been a part of the agricultural industry in Thailand, and you specialized in chemistry. And then when it was time for you, to choose a field for yourself, you said, why not agriculture? Because you believed that there was a lot of contamination that was happening to the soil per se because of so much of chemical usage. So you wanted to draw people's attention towards organic farming. Now, having understood this, tell me, on why did you move from Thailand, which is a green country, which is, let's say, self sufficient in many ways when it comes to food production, to KSA, which is a desert?
Okay, there was a bridge before that. Before I moved to KSA, 13 years ago, I moved to the UAE. And the
Mm.
reason that I moved to the UAE is my personal decision because I met my husband, and my
Okay.
husband doesn't want to move from the UAE
Ah,
to Thailand. And then I
okay.
thought, why not? Let me learn something new. It's a new challenge, it's a new chapter that I will be able to take. And it is because, first of all, Middle East is a man dominant. Okay.
Mm.
It means that a small woman from Thailand is one person that they will hide, they will speak with, but they may not use my decision or taking my decision or consideration of my decision or whatever I
They
suggest.
may not take it
However,
seriously. They may
yes,
not take
that's
it.
correct.
Okay.
Mhm. And then here it is, because I have a good boss. My boss is Mr. Henry, who is a general manager, who he is British, and he giving me an opportunity to be a person who I am today, because
Mm.
he believes and he trusts, and this is building me as a person who would like to become a good leader. Because when you compare between boss and a leader, it's a different character, and how you be able to nurture person to be able to become themselves and give 100% of themselves. It's very important to give them an opportunity to make mistakes, but in the ability that they can learn from their mistakes. And that's it was me, and he gave me an opportunity. And then I got another chance to work with let's say a businessman. His name is Mr. Mike Thompson, who was working with me with a company from Japan called Nishibo Company. Is an innovative green wall and green roof system. When I joined this company after 5 years with Mr. Harry, I learned about entrepreneurship. when it's talking about entrepreneurship, it's something that when you transition from academic, I was teaching in university for 7 years. I received as an assistant professor, and then my transition to the UAE is just a woman with a knowledge of agriculture, a small woman who have this information. But then because of the entrepreneurship skill that Mr. Mike taught me, allow me to be able to work and think and wear a several hats. When I talking about several hats, it means you working from the beginning, client interaction. You understand the problem from the beginning. You design management, how you're gonna plan for the project, and then you plan the execution. From the execution, you have to close the project and hand over back it to the client. All that I have learned during the process working with Nishibo, it is a good opportunity
I'm
that
sure.
change the perspective of scientists to a business orientation person, but still have the background of as a scientist and agriculture. And then the
Got your
transition,
corporate experience, let's say, because you were a teacher, so that's heavily academics. So from there, you move to, UAE, which you said is male dominated, but then you met somebody from, I think the UK you mentioned, and then someone from Japan who were your leaders in those companies. And so, although it was male dominated, you had expats leading you and giving you opportunities, and you yourself also got the opportunity to learn something new other
yes,
than academics only. I mean, obviously, you are and will always be a scientist, but then making a business out of your knowledge requires training of a different kind. So you allowed yourself to gain that experience through your stay in the UAE.
yes, that's correct. And that's the reason I'm grateful throughout the process of my career, because without my boss or my colleague who helped me along the way, I wouldn't be here
I'm
now.
sure. I'm sure.
Yes. And the last leg of before I moved to the Saudi Arabia, I worked with a company called Desert Control. At
Mm,
Desert Control, I also met with a very good CEO and also the general manager, Mr. Oli Christian and Mr. Adle Idan. Both of them have very good skill in leadership. As said, I have learned throughout the process about how we can manage people, and I use 100% of my knowledge in soil science, because desert control, their mission is to combat desertification, combat water scarcity, and improve food security.
mm.
And they are the innovator who be able to turn desert into a green or farmable soil. And I work with them as a lead soil scientist, and that's the reason when they start a new operation in Saudi Arabia, they, the CEO and the general manager is recommended me to support the Saudi team. And yes,
That is
that's
how
the
you
reason
do.
I'm here. Yes.
Just imagine when you started telling me about your journey from Thailand to Saudi, you said, when I arrived in the UAE, I was a little doubtful because who would believe a small girl from Thailand with knowledge in a male dominated setup? But I think at each point in your career, you met people who believed in the knowledge you have, helped you gain corporate experience to be able to make this a sustainable career for yourself. Let's talk about when you first arrived at in Saudi Arabia. KSA is a whole different world, from Thailand. I mean, the rules and regulations, the cultural practices, all of that are so different. Did you feel like you want to go back to Thailand, or you fell in love with KSA?
Yes, I feel in love with KSA, especially at the moment. I quite have a good experience in
Okay.
Riyadh area, and let's say this, because the transition from Thailand to the UAE, and from the UAE I used to live in Dubai, and then another 3 years in Abu Dhabi, and then I moved to Riyadh. It was a smooth transition, and I would recommend UAE and Saudi Arabia is not much of a big difference at the moment. At this point, there was a transition that Saudi Arabia has went through. And that's a very good decision that happened to people in the country, and the vision that the leadership of the country has brought in. I am really, really grateful to be here. And the reason that another reason that I'm grateful is the opportunity that my team in Saudi Arabia given me. I have a good team and I have a good leader. That's something, is very, very important for me as a person that I would recommend to everyone. If you have a job that make you satisfied, you have a job that get a drive for you to wake up in the morning and I can do something good. That's the job that you go for.
That's the
But
best.
if you have, and if you have a job that makes you doubtful, I don't want to go to work, I want to call for, sick, that's something that you need to rethink. Are you in the right place?
Tell me a little bit, Orn, about, let's talk about the challenges that you face when it comes to you performing your job in KSA, because let's be honest, Saudi Arabia is a desert, right? And you are a soil specialist. Now, for you to be able to turn desert sand into soil, maybe I'm just saying the wrong things, or maybe find good soil that can be used for cultivation, all of that seems like a far-fetched dream, because how can you do it? Just tell me, educate me on how are you working to make Saudi green?
Okay. I need to give you a little bit of background in
Okay.
terms of the soil quality of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Quality of the soil in Saudi Arabia, majority is a sandy soil. When we talk about sandy soil, when you catch the soil, it just run away,
Right.
escape from your hand,
Right.
and doesn't have ability to retain nutrient, doesn't have ability to retain water. But
Okay.
there are certain portion of Saudi Arabia that have a good soil, but it has been degraded. When we're talking about the degraded soil, it means that it's overused, is under management, and nobody has looked after them before. Okay. Now let's talk about the sandy soil, because the desert control as an inventor company who creates a technology called liquid natural clay. This technology is turn the clay or natural mineral. Clay is a natural mineral that already exists in our earth, and using clay to implement it into the soil to be able to improve the productivity and physical property of it is not a new technology.
You are using clay for the soil that is right now undermanaged, or you are using clay for the sand? Where are you using the clay?
Okay. At the moment, we are focusing in the soil that still have a high percent of sand. And we also under the research and development to improve the soil that has been degraded. It means a little bit of high percent of clay in the soil as well.
Understood.
Now,
Understood.
we not use only clay. The product, the formulation of liquid natural clay is a mix of natural mineral. Natural mineral, let's say this, when you make pizza, the pizza dough is made, majority ingredient is the flour.
Right.
And then the other is yeast, sugar, salt, or other
Correct.
other ingredient. Yes,
Right.
and which
Right.
means that the majority of the ingredient that we use is clay. But there are other ingredients that we also use to improve the formulation to specific or target to the type of the soil that we are work with as well. And that, okay, to be able to use the soil for or desert soil for agriculture or sandy soil for agriculture, it's not a new technology. People growing something in the desert for a while. But what they do is that they have to put a lot of water and agri input to be able to maintain the productivity of your crop. For example, you want to grow cucumber. You want to grow cucumber. If you grow cucumber in the sandy soil that doesn't have nutrients, doesn't have ability to retain water, then you have to keep adding water because the soil is always thirsty. The plant is always thirsty.
Correct.
And then you have to put a lot of fertilizer. It can
Mm.
be organic fertilizer or inorganic fertilizer or chemical fertilizer, which is most of them when you add it, because soil doesn't have ability to retain nutrients, it's just leaching down. And
Yeah.
when it's leaching down, it causes a problem. Now, with the technology of liquid natural clay, we liquefy the natural mineral into a small particle. When we put into the ground or it mix into the sandy soil, it will create a binding that it improves the balance. I will give a technical term a little bit, a micropore and a macropore.
Helping to bind. So when you're putting in water or any sort of organic or chemical fertilizer, when you're trying to grow, let's say, cucumber, with this new liquid clay that you put into the soil, it will help bind anything that you put uh, once you plant your seeds, correct?
Yes, that's correct. But first of all, before it buy with the nutrient or water, it will create a structure that, let's say we create a sponge structure. When you have the sandy soil, when you try to pour water into the soil, the water is just escape quickly like a shape of the bullet. But when we create a structure that retain water like a sponge, the water starts to retain in the layer that we created and
Hmm.
start to move laterally. It means it allows plant to uptake the water slowly. And that's
Understood.
how we be able to achieve the first challenge of working in the sandy soil. And
Understood.
when we talk about the arid climate is heat with the high temperature. Most of the water is escaped from the soil is because of the evaporation.
Right.
With liquid natural clay, we be able to create a layer on the top surface
Ah,
to prevent the evaporation. That's why the moisture is be able to stay in the application area that we created. And
understood.
mhm.
Oh, this looks like so much of hard work, and despite all the hard work, at the end of the day, KSA is a desert, so it is not possible to grow everything there, right? So what are the few things, food products that KSA as a country focuses on, at least
Okay,
in those regards
you
you
will
make
be
and become
surprised.
independent?
You will be surprised because Saudi Arabia is a very big country and
Right.
the topography from the top to the south is very different. And Saudi Arabia themselves is almost to become a self-sustainability in terms of
Really?
the food production. That's something
Wow.
surprised me. Yes, because they're capable of growing several types of fruit and vegetables from the temperate zone, especially when during the winter months. And also at the down south of Saudi Arabia, we even be able to grow mango, papaya, coffee. It is amazing. This is something that if I'm not here, I would be wonder, is that real information that I'm getting? But is this real information? And Saudi Arabia have very strong government support. I work closely with the organized called Estidama. Estidama is research and innovation of agriculture in Saudi Arabia. What they do is that they bring in or introduce innovative technology to the grower and then support the grower along the way to be able to adopt technology. I have a very strong belief that Saudi Arabia themselves going to be a good place in terms of agri production, first self-sustain and then export it in the future.
Or if I, since this has come like a huge surprise, I thought you will be telling me that, oh, we are in our very initial stages of learning how to find our foothold in this journey of becoming self-reliant with regards to food and things like that. But I'm totally, caught by surprise with your answer. I just want to ask you on if Saudi is now on that path to becoming a self-reliant country when it comes to food production. Can you tell me by when do we see this? 2030, 2035?
Okay, Okay, from the data that has been collected by the organization in Saudi Arabia, they already be able to sustain the production. If we think about the key measure of the cash crop, okay, cash crop, for example, wheat, animal product, alfalfa that used for produce animal, corn, vegetable, and fruit, they already self-sustain. They
Okay.
produce and they use in their country. And the
Okay.
government is support the people or the grower to do it in the country.
Okay.
Now they think bigger because Saudi Arabia at the moment in terms of Vision 2030 is to diversify the business or the orientation of oil and gas to other business, different sector. And then agriculture is one of them.
Okay.
And I will tell you this. The reason that agriculture is very important and going hand in hand in climate change is that open field production is help absorb a lot of carbon dioxide.
Right.
Second, Saudi Arabia is temperature on land without any plant is going to increase every year during
Mm.
summer. But
Mm.
when you have something to cover the surface, you have green area, it's going to reduce and create a microclimate. That's the reason there are another initiative that go hand in hand called Saudi Green Initiative to improve the livelihood of people in the country. There is the balance that they would like to plant 1 billion trees. Why is it so important? It's because with with ability to green the area, with ability of the tree that has been increased, you will be able to create a microclimate. Now the challenge, oh, that is a beautiful picture. There is a challenge where to plant, where is the water source, and how to manage them. That's all the scientists and organization is working hand in hand together to be able to achieve it. And Saudi Arabia is a big platform that open all innovative technology to come into the country. I have been participated with the event called FIDA Hackathon, and then there are several section that they are interested. But one of the section that our team participated is afforestation and green horizon. And we brought in innovative solution to present as a pitch to the judge. And then our team has been selected as a second award for the event. And I believe there are several events that going to bring more innovative technology in the country, but it has to be a proof concept. And I will say this, that the concept of liquid natural clay technology is one of the technology that can help and support, but it's not only technology that going to be the winning to be able to green the country. It means we have to work together. Mm-hmm.
This was such an informative podcast, Orn. Without talking to you, I would have never understood the concept of liquid clay. I would have never understood how it's being used to make Saudi soil, useful for agriculture. I would have never understood that. I would have never known, let's say, that Saudi is already halfway towards becoming a self-sustaining country when it comes to food, and it has a goal by 2030. You said that they want to become not only self-sustaining but also look towards exporting their agricultural product. I mean, I came in with a very different view, but that's the beauty of talking to guests across varied, professions. You get to learn so much, you get to know so much. Uh, as last words, or for somebody who's working very, very diligently to make Saudi green, what is that one last word, one last hope as a soil scientist you have for KSA?
Okay. As I said before, that collaboration is the key to work together, and that's what I'm working toward with all the organization or scientists or the grower or the company who I try to connect with. We are we believe that working together is the win-win situation, and it will convert to the faster movement that we can move together. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for giving me your time, Orn.
Thank
I'm very,
you.
very grateful to you. Congratulations on the kind of work that you're doing, and I wish you all the success that by 2030, like KSA has a dream of becoming self-sustaining and an exporter of their agricultural produce. I wish you all the best because you're a key part of the team that's working towards it. Thank you very much for giving me your
Thank you
time.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.